have these 2 sweet potatoes here. They were about 1.5 pounds, and I baked them for my amazing dessert that I'm gonna share with you today. It's a sweet potato cheesecake square. Not only is it a great make-ahead dessert for Thanksgiving, but it's also easier because you're using a pressing crust instead of your classic like pâte crust or, you know, butter pastry crust. So start off by making your crust. Well, start off by making your sweet potatoes and letting them cool. Then you make your graham cracker crust. I have 18 graham crackers. This is kind of a big graham cracker crust recipe because I'm going to be filling a 9 by 13 inch baking pan instead of your usual pie plate. Grind them up until they're fine. This should yield about 2 1/4 cups. Add a 1/2 cup of melted butter, unsalted, 1/3 cup of sugar, and a little bit of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. Pulse everything until it's uniformly moistened with the butter, and then you can just press it into your pan. It's a 9 by 13 inch baking pan, and you just press your crust mixture into the pan nice and evenly. So I baked my potatoes at 375. I still have my oven at 375 for the crust. Press your prom mixture evenly into the 9 by 13 inch pan. I like to use the bottom of a 1 cup dry measure to really get it nice and even and firm. You can also use the bottom of a glass. I mean, you can use your hands, but I feel like using something more solid works really well. You want to bake this just a little bit so the sugar melts and sort of starts holding everything together and forming a crust. About 12 minutes. It'll get a little bit golden brown. So now to make the filling, once your crust comes out of the oven, let it cool. The potatoes have cooled enough to touch and you can puree them. You can mash them ahead with a fork, but everything's going to get pureed together, so I'm just going to pulse it briefly in my food processor. You don't need the skin for this recipe, but I highly recommend that you eat it because it's really yummy and really good for you. Sweet potatoes are the best, right? I love them. Pulse it just to break it down. You could do this with a fork too in a bowl if you wanted to. And then add the remaining cheesecake making ingredients. 1.5 cups of ricotta cheese. The ricotta adds a nice lightness to this cheesecake. It's a little bit less dense than like an all sour cream one, which is a little more common. 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. So you're getting a lot of really nice creaminess with the Greek yogurt, a little bit of tang, which is really nice, and not quite as much fat as sour cream, if that was something you were concerned about. 4 large eggs, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, coarse salt, 1/4 cup of melted butter, cooled and melted and cooled anyway, and then 2/3 cup of sugar. It's a big filling because it's a big dessert. And the great thing about it is it's big, but you cut it into small squares, so it serves a lot of people too. Blend everything together really well. Some of my sweet potato seems to be caught on the side of the food processor bowl, so give it a scrape. Get it nice and creamy and smooth. Pour the filling into the baked crust and have your oven now at 325 degrees. Cheesecakes need to bake at a lower temperature than crusts do, so you want to reduce your temperature. But the great thing about this recipe is it does not need a water bath or anything fancy like that, so it's really, really simple to make. I feel like if you added just a little bit less sugar to this and baked it without the crust, it could be some kind of amazing savory breakfast. Always using my noggin. If you wanted to add a little bit of spice to this, which it doesn't have, you could add a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice. A grating of lemon zest or orange zest would also be really nice. But it's very simple and delicious all on its own. Bake this at 325 until it's just set in the center. It'll take about 30 to 35 minutes. When your cheesecake comes out of the oven, let it cool for about 30 minutes and then refrigerate it up to overnight, maybe even a little bit longer. You could do it 2 days ahead if you wanted to. And then you can serve it. It's a beautiful, bright orange color. It's like a pumpkin pie, but so much easier than a pumpkin pie, if you ask me. Cut into squares. You might want to wipe off your knife between cuts if you want to get a nice clean cut, or even use like a hot knife, but it's not necessary. You can do it this way. First piece is a little bit difficult to get out. Oh, there we go. A nice big piece for me. This is even more delicious, I think, than pumpkin pie. Super easy. A little bit of soft whipped cream on top. Once you give it a try, I think everybody's going to agree that it's their new favorite Thanksgiving dessert. And it was super easy, but you don't have to tell them.